YouTube, Smoove the trucker. We are in Amarillo, Texas at the Flying J, getting some fuel. Life on the road, you guys. It's going swell.
My job title is a CDL big rig semi-truck team driver for FedEx Ground. Basically, I team drive with a partner for FedEx, and we travel all over the United States. Out for about 5 days, home for 2 days. My favorite route to take is probably the I-70 going over Colorado. Those of you guys who have been OTR truck drivers in the past, you know, taking the I-70 over the Colorado Rocky Mountains. It's super beautiful, especially when it's not during the winter time and it's snow and ice on the road. Springtime, honestly, like this time of the year right now is probably the most beautiful time to take that route, just because of all the waterfalls and all the scenery. And it's just a really beautiful drive, taking that I-70 over through the Colorado Rocky Mountain Pass. In my opinion, that's probably one of the most beautiful interstates in all of the United States. My least favorite route to take. Well, I don't like a lot of the super heavy congested traffic, I would say. So, for example, about 3 months ago, we had to go through New York City. And it's beautiful going through New York City, but when you're stuck in traffic, not able to move for, about 3 hours at a time or even longer sometimes it's not the most enjoyable thing. So least favorite route to take is any heavily congested areas such as New York City, or if you're stuck in Los Angeles and rush hour, Atlanta, Georgia. All those places are probably going to be, one of my least favorite routes to take. Most amount of money I've spent on the semi-truck, probably around $550. Sometimes, fuel prices are real high and you're at a truck stop where, fuel prices aren't really expensive. My contractor doesn't like that because obviously they're trying to save as much money on fuel and diesel as possible. But, sometimes I've remembered, I've spent over $600 at a more expensive gas station to try to fill up the truck. So, and it's about 150 gallons of, it holds. So sometimes, we're pushing the truck down to all the way where the low gas light comes on, little yellow light. So yeah, usually if I have to put in about, 140 something gallons, it usually comes out to be about $500, sometimes $550, depending on how expensive diesel prices are and what state you're in. So, what is the craziest thing I've experienced? There's two super crazy things I can think of off of the top of my head that Smoove's experienced. First thing was probably with my first company, with May Trucking. I had to do a delivery to downtown Los Angeles at about 2 o'clock in the morning. And, they make you get there early and you have to wait. So I'm sitting there waiting in a dark alley, sketchy area of downtown Los Angeles. And it's kind of a sketchy area. There's these homeless people right next to my truck, stuck in a tent. Pretty sure they were on some type of drugs or something because they were screaming all night long. And, it's not the most enjoyable thing being next to that, Like, part of me wanted to, see what was wrong, but another part of me said, no, you better not get out of the truck. You better just stay safe and stick it out. I ended up having to go into the bathroom about 4 o'clock in the morning, so I had to get out of the truck and walk to a nearby grocery store and come back. And yeah, these homeless people are stuck in a tent screaming on drugs all night long next to the truck. So it's that was a pretty crazy experience. Luckily they didn't try to, come in my truck or anything, but definitely wasn't the most enjoyable experience that night for sure. Another super crazy experience that comes to mind is last year, actually about a year and a half ago, when I was with Gardner Trucking during the wintertime. We were driving over the Siskiyou Mountain Pass in Southern California, and we were stuck, or I got stuck. This was when I was solo driving, so I got stuck going off the route and in the snow and ice. So basically I was stuck on this mountain going up a hill, and my semi-truck kept sliding backwards down the snowy ice, and I ended up sliding all the way back down the ice, and my truck started to go off the road. And if it wasn't for this tree that was stuck on the side of the road, my semi-truck 53-foot trailer for Gardner kind of slid into the tree, and the tree actually stopped me from going off the cliff and sliding down the mountain. So that was a really sketchy experience. Luckily a tow truck came out. It took him a long time. It was kind of a sketchy situation, but he had to dig these claws into the ice and to get traction and pull me out with a cable. And luckily, I made it out of that situation. But yeah, that was a super crazy situation. Do not recommend going off the interstate, especially in the mountains and the snow and ice when you're stuck in a semi-truck. Bad idea. It's one of those things you'll only do once and you'll never end up doing that again.
Well guys, this is what you don't want to happen when you're driving semi-trucks.
So I'm working a team driving job here for Awesome Freight VNG, leased onto FedEx ground. So for team driving for FedEx, usually what me and my partner do is we don't have to use recaps, so we'll usually drive our whole entire clock before we switch. So, in your DOT hours of service clock, you're allowed to drive 11 hours of driving before having to take a mandatory 10-hour break. So within that 11 hours of driving, obviously you have to take a 30-minute break before your 8 hours of driving. So usually drive, about 7 hours on average, take a 30-minute break, and then bust out, about another 4 hours of driving, maybe 3.5 hours of driving before switching with my partner. So in total, your shifts are usually about 11, maybe, around 11 hours on average, 11-hour drive shifts before switching with a partner. You're working for FedEx ground team driving. If I had to get stuck somewhere, I want to be stuck somewhere probably by the coast, like maybe Southern California, as long as the truck is in a safe, secure location, I don't have to worry about the truck being towed away. Somewhere probably near the beach, like Southern California. Florida is also really nice. I really enjoy Florida. It kind of depends, as long as you're in an area where you have fun stuff to do, where you're not, trying to figure out, obviously you're going to be worried about the truck, and hopefully the truck is in a safe, secure location. But when it comes down to it, as long as you have, good places to eat nearby, good restaurants, good source of entertainment, and you're safe, I'd say that's probably, one of the most important things about being stuck. If you're stuck on stuck on the road in your truck, is just being safe and having entertainment, people to talk to, and getting a flight. You want to make sure you're near the airport, so, your contractor can fly you home. So if you're stuck on the road, you don't want to be out there for a long period of time. So have access to Uber and Lyft to get to the airport, and in an airport nearby, so you can be flown back home until the truck is fixed and get you back to your friends and family. Smoove the trucker out for now.